Hello, everyone. So this one's going to be a very different video. I'm always experimenting, as you know, if you follow my channel. One of my viewers, actually Tesla Bite Size and Palantir Bite Size, a fan of the show. Thank you so much for sending this idea over. He's a big fan of the All In podcast, and I am as well. If you aren't familiar with that podcast, it's an awesome finance and investing podcast with 4 really, really successful people. And apparently at the end of the video, I haven't watched this, is the first time I'm watching this. They were talking about Tesla and short selling apparently. And the idea was to do a live reaction to it. I don't know if you've seen live reaction channels before on YouTube, but it's I personally love them because I like to watch people like reacting to Metallica who have never watched Metallica before. But he said that this might be a good piece of sort of content and something to put together and something you might enjoy as well. So without further ado, I'm just going to pull up the video, watch it live with you for the first time, and then react to it as I hear sort of what they're talking about. I don't know what's going to happen. Here we go.
Whether the report is right or not. But this extra step of actually having the SEC actually tell us what the answer is, I think would be a very important improvement to how this kind of stuff works.
The other improvement that the SEC has been proposing in Rule 13F-2 is that people would need to disclose their short positions.
Right.
This proposed rule would require institutional investment managers, I'm reading from the SEC website, managers exercising investment discretion over short positions, meeting specified thresholds to report on the proposed Form SHO.
I don't know how this isn't the case already. Okay, cool.
Information related to end-of-month short positions and certain daily activity affecting the short positions.
That is a no-brainer. That should absolutely pass. Or that,
the commission would aggregate the resulting data by security, thereby maintaining confidentiality of the reporting managers and publicly disseminating the data to all investors. This new data would supplement the short sale data.
I think this relates to overlending of stock, right? I mean, this is less about like who's doing what, and it's much more about, are we kind of creating critical fail points in the system by seeing over leverage and over lending in certain.
Well, there should also be some rules about the spreading of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That FUD that happened with TSLAQ. I mean, paradoxically, thousands of
but that's
anonymous accounts.
That's an example of people essentially lying in public.
Yes.
What's interesting so far is that. So it's not just a Tesla community thing that this TSLAQ FUD thing is. It's like these guys, part of one of the most popular finance, if not the most popular finance and investing, I think, podcasts in the world, are directly referencing FUD, TSLAQ. If you're a Tesla investor, you're like, you're getting like panic attacks just thinking about it. Especially if you're invested back in 2018. Let me go back a little bit, and so we were all on the same page.
That's an example of people essentially lying in public to try to get the stock to move. And Tesla's not a fraud. That's a real company.
I mean, they were winning car of the year while this was going on.
But there was a real human cost to that company, right? To employees that got spooked, to partners that may have gotten spooked. The pressure, we saw this, the pressure on Elon in those periods of time. And he was like on the knife's edge where there was the potential where the company may not have been able to finance its cash flow needs because of those TSLAQ guys. And so
it's interesting hearing from people that are probably much closer than any of us are to Elon, probably from like a friendship standpoint. I know Elon went on their podcast last year. And I know he's friends with David Sachs, and he might be friends with other folks on the podcast as well. They confirmed that this was a very difficult time period for the individual, which, I mean, I think all of us knew that. You just got to look at the guy and be like, you can see it in his face that he's exhausted. But it's just another data point, very interestingly here, that the FUD spreading and sort of how TSLAQ was physically trying to push the stock down was technically working from the standpoint of messing up, say, Elon Musk's mental, and to actually put a tremendous amount of additional pressure on the company to survive through the period. And one could argue that it was a concerted effort just based on what we're hearing so far. Obviously, I can't prove that or not prove that, but it's just very fascinating hearing these guys talking about this, like, for everybody to hear.
Not have been able to finance its cash flow needs because of those TSLAQ guys. And so it's not to say that the TSLAQ guys can't say it, but they should be forced at some level to prove it if you can create crazy stuff. I posted a link, by the way, for anybody that's interested in reading this. There's a person called Carson Block who's being investigated.
Yes.
Because he may have pushed the boundaries of how short sellers do this. It's a really fascinating read in The Atlantic for anybody who wants to read it. But this is sort of where the short selling thing can a little bit go awry. And it's the title of this is The Man Who Moves Markets. And it's quite a really interesting read if you're interested in how all of this stuff works.
All right, everybody. That's the All In Podcast 4.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. So short clip. I'm actually glad I did this. It's fascinating. Yeah. For me, it's like magic. Look, it's fascinating to hear folks that are not, I wouldn't say are directly in this sort of Tesla story, like constantly outwardly expressing how much they like the company and how much they love the company and all this good stuff. And they admire Elon and whatever. But it's fascinating hearing them talk about the downsides of shorting and how it can be gamed to really put additional strain on the company. And the fact that there's potential regulation coming up that could solve that, where a lot of these short sellers have to prove, really all the short sellers would essentially have to prove and put forward something that says, hey, this is why I'm shorting, or put additional restraints and conditions on short selling so that it's not just this like spread the FUD, force the freaking stock to go down and make a ton of money through it, is obviously a huge positive step. So this is great. I mean, it's a great development. Thank you so much, Tesla Bite Size, for sending this over for me to react to. And then let me know in the comments how you like this content, this type of content. If you like me to do this more often, let me know. But again, it's experimental. I'm constantly trying out new stuff on this channel. So if this was of value to you, let me know as well. And I'm open to doing this for other videos as well. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Take it easy. Bye.